Folks, we are here at the 2023 Senior Bowl, myself and Billy over here. And while we are covering this, we were, of course, hit with some pretty surprising news just a couple of days ago, and that is that Tom Brady has retired from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and from the NFL. And, of course, the question now becomes for the Buccaneers is, what the heck are they going to do now at the quarterback position? So I wanted to take today's video and kind of give a little bit of a gloss over as to what their options are. Not really get into specifics into all the options that they may have, but kind of break it down in terms of all the paths that they can take. And the first thing I want to say is I think that anything is going to be on the table for the Bucs. Any which type of way they can add a quarterback or potentially do what they can with what they have is all going to be on the table for this team. And speaking of that, that's the first thing I want to mention here is the first option the Buccaneers have is they can roll with who they have at the quarterback position. Kyle Trask is currently the only quarterback under contract on this Buccaneers roster right now, and he could be their starting quarterback next season if the Buccaneers feel that Trask is ready. I don't believe re-signing Blaine Gabbert is a 100% lock, so there is, again, a legitimate chance that Trask could be a legitimate option for the Buccaneers if they deem him ready. That is going to be interesting, and we will talk about that a little bit later on here in future videos, but that's the first option is they could just roll with Trask. After that, you've got to consider all the outside types of options and paths that the Buccaneers can take. The first thing that comes to my mind is, could they trade for a quarterback? There's so many different types of quarterbacks that are on the trade block or in discussions of being traded. Guys like Lamar Jackson, who I know a lot of Bucs fans have been interested in. Aaron Rodgers, who I know a lot of Bucs fans have been interested in. But even whenever you look at some secondary options, guys like Carson Wentz potentially, and some of the other quarterbacks that are out there, those could be potential avenues that the Buccaneers could explore as well. Of course, Derek Carr, he's either going to be traded or released, and that kind of ties into the next option that they have, which is free agency. There are plenty of different guys that could be out there. Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston if he does get released by the New Orleans Saints. There's a lot of different types of quarterbacks that can be out there in free agency, and all of them, not all of them, but a decent amount of them do have starting caliber experience and could give the Buccaneers at least some options at the starting quarterback position that would give them at least experienced hands to guide the ship, as it were. But then finally, if you do want to look at younger options, that's whenever you take a look at the NFL draft. And obviously, the Buccaneers are not going to get one of the top guys. Not a Bryce Young, not a C.J. Stroud. Heck, probably not even a Will Levis, or maybe even one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks. But at pick 19, you do look at some other guys, maybe a guy like an Anthony Richardson, who I know a lot of people have been clamoring about in the second half of the first round out of Florida. Again, we'll talk about all those guys more specifically in later videos, but also potentially even in later rounds. Stetson Bennett out of Georgia, I know, is a guy that has been brought up a handful of times. Possibly even a guy like Max Duggan, who we are taking a look at here at the Senior Bowl. Billy has not necessarily been impressed with Max Duggan, but he could be a potential option to compete with a guy like Kyle Trask as well. And that is certainly an avenue the Buccaneers could take. So whenever you look at all those different types of options, trading, signing a guy in free agency, picking up somebody in the draft, or even possibly rolling with Kyle Trask and just keeping what you have, I definitely think that all things are on the table. But whenever I think of what the Buccaneers have done in recent history to stay competitive and go out there and get the big fish type of signing, what they did with Tom Brady just a couple of years ago. While all things are on the table, in my opinion, it also wouldn't surprise me as well if the Buccaneers go out there and say, we want to stay competitive, let's go out there and really try and get one of the best options that may be out there, which may be a guy like an Aaron Rodgers or a Derek Carr. Lamar Jackson, I don't necessarily know if he's going to leave Baltimore, but if that is an option, maybe the Buccaneers would explore that option. And then you may think back on secondary options like free agency or like taking a quarterback in the first round of the NFL draft. But I think that really as it stands, Would not shock me at all if it came out and the Buccaneers say, we're going to swing for the fences. We are going to try to get a big fish as an option at the quarterback position. But folks, let me know what you guys think. What do you think the Buccaneers should do at the QB position? What avenue do you think they should take? Do you want them to trade for somebody? Maybe add somebody in free agency, possibly in the draft, or do you feel confidence in Kyle Trask? Folks, again, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. We will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.